this is Carrie Ann with our Dress Hot Teen Talk. We're coming live from our Dress Hot store, and I have my original team here. We have Mackenzie, Bethany, Zoe, and Emma. And we have a special guest with us. We have Emma's mom, Cheryl. So welcome to our Teen Talk today. She's been on our show before, but this time she is live when we are going to be talking about a very special topic. So let's just go through our teen and just introduce yourself again and what you guys have been doing and if anything has changed in your life.
Hi, I'm Bethany. Nothing's changed for me. But
except for your hair, millions of times.
Except for my hair. I think this is my 30th color. I've dyed my hair 30 times since July, I believe. So I think I'm done for a while. Actually, no, that's not true. I'm dyeing it next week. But after next week, I will be done for a while. Other than that, I don't think there's anything new with me.
I'm Zoe, and not much has changed for me. I've just kind of been doing the same thing at home, doing school, and that's pretty much it.
Hi, I'm Mackenzie. Nothing much has changed, really. I'm in college, online. I'm almost done, so freshman year has been fun. It's something. Just living life, exploring.
Okay. Not to follow the bandwagon here, but I'm Emma. Not much has really changed for me. I'm still doing senior year, all that. Yeah.
Well, let's ask Cheryl. What have you been doing, Cheryl?
Exactly. Hi, I'm Cheryl. Been making Emma do her college apps, SATs, getting them scheduled, and just trying to stay safe, wear the mask and all that, social distancing.
Cool deal. So today we're going to talk about child sexual abuse and sex trafficking. And I truly believe it's a pandemic that we have here in the United States because it is very widely known. I'll just give you a couple statistics that mostly with child abuse, it starts when you are very young, under the age of 18. And usually it is somebody that you know, like a friend or a family member. And it could be detrimental to a young child. And we will, just kind of give some ideas as to what to look for if you know anybody that is getting sexually abused. So let's talk to the girls. Do you know anybody? Because usually it's 1 out of 3 kids that are sexually abused in their life. Mackenzie, do you know of anybody that has been sexually abused or sexually molested?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I have not, which is you said 1 of 3, mm-hmm. And which is sad because maybe I do, but I don't. Maybe one of my friends is happening, but I just don't know, which is terrifying. So no, I don't, and it's scary.
What about you, Bethany?
I do know a few people. Just from what I do with my life, I learn a lot about people and their backstories and their lives, and people, they love to be open with me and share with me. So a lot of people, honestly, people that I don't even know, sometimes reach out to me and tell me their stories, which is honestly, it's so heartwarming that they're able to open up to me like this.
Okay. So how do you, have they told you, was it usually a family member or a friend of the family? Do they get in detail as far as what they experienced?
Sometimes they tell me about it. Sometimes they don't. I've had a few people tell me about family members. But it's typically people that they don't even know.
Okay. Zoe?
I don't know of anybody. Like Mackenzie said, it is scary because there could be someone that I do know that just hasn't told me. And
okay. And then Emma?
I don't think I know anyone, but like we all said, it could be happening and no one is just opening up, or they think that the person that is hurting them just loves them. Do you know what I mean? They don't even know that it's happening to them, which is also terrifying.
Right, and it is a terrifying thing. And with your mom being here, you have 3 girls. So what, as far as making sure your girls were protected, like growing up, like what exactly did you do as a mom, or do you know of anybody that was sexually molested or abused?
I know some people that were abused, and it's hard. You don't know how someone can do that to a young person that you're like supposed to be protecting. But as a mom, I was very overprotective of all three of my girls. I didn't like sleepovers. I didn't know. I vetted people, I think, because you don't know who's there. Is there an older brother bringing in friends? And not that people are all bad, but if you don't know them, it's better to be overprotective, I feel. I was very protective of sleepovers. Young girls, just, it's always in the back of your mind, I think, to protect your child. So you have to know who you're letting your kids go with, and don't be naive about it.
Yeah, and I think sometimes too that it's not just like family members. It could be anybody, as far as like friends of the family that you trust. And for you guys that said that you didn't know anybody, I will tell you I was sexually abused when I was 12 years old, and it was a friend of the family. And basically it was for a year and a half. And basically it was very detrimental to myself, and mentally, physically, emotionally. And it was hard to deal with. And it was till I was 22, 10 years later, until I told my parents. And, you don't realize the effect that it had on you. You turn inside out, and you hide from yourself, and you don't know how to deal with all those emotions, stirring up within you. So basically 1 in 3, you guys know somebody now. And it's, if I could help somebody, look for the signs, if I could help somebody find the way to deal with it, and it could be like a father figure type, it could be, like I said, a friend of the family, it could be like uncle, it could be siblings or whatever. I mean, it just basically, it's very difficult. And if you don't have a lot of confidence, and then when you're 12, you don't really know what to expect. You feel like you did something wrong. You feel like you were the one who was at fault. And, and that's not the case. And it took many years to realize that, you weren't the one that was the problem, that somebody else, was dealing with something else. And the one thing I did have to learn was I had to learn to forgive that person, because that was harming me, and I gave that person the power over me. So basically, it is a very detrimental thing. And not only do girls go through that, boys go through that. And it's very more known that young boys that, do go through that with sexual abuse and sexual molestation. And even if we go into like sex trafficking, which is very big now, and they're finding a lot of kids out there that they're selling children for sex trafficking. I mean, you just think about the world that we live in right now, as far as selling children, for sexual pleasure. To me, that is just sick. It makes my skin crawl. I know you just said you watched a video about sex trafficking. Tell us a little bit about what you learned about.
Well, it wasn't like a video. Well, yeah. Well, it was just like, she was in the hospital, and the doctor's like asking the girl a lot of questions, and the person who was the girl was with, she was always answering. And the guy's like, no, I want to talk to the girl. And the person who was in charge of the girl was like, no, I'm answering all these questions. So it was like, he was like, are you okay? And the girl was like, yeah, I'm fine. But then I think a month later or so, she comes back because they found her on the side of the road and was like, yeah, I was sex trafficked. That happened to me, which is like terrible. So.
Yeah. And do you know anything about sex trafficking, Bethany?
I did a little bit of, I had like a section last year in my AP World class where we talked about it a little bit. And it's like more common in the South here. And like we heard this one story of this guy from Cambodia who was looking for a job, and he ended up getting kidnapped and put into sex trafficking. And they escaped through a boat. They like jumped off of a boat and swam to shore. But yeah, it's hard to hear about stuff like this.
Yeah. Zoe?
I see it everywhere. Like, I see it on Facebook, like big raids, and they find a ton of people. And I know, like, when I'm with kids, like if we're out in public, I'm like really overprotective of them, and I like have to have my eye on them, or I like start to freak out, because there's always that thought in the back of your mind that something could happen to them. And like when I babysit, I'm always like, make sure the doors are locked, because I'm scared that, you know, something will happen to them. So I see it everywhere. It's so sad. Like, I feel like every day it's on the news anymore. And it's just really upsetting that people can do that, and people are actually that, like, mean, and I don't know. It's just really upsetting.
I kind of call it mentally twisted to hurt a little kid, you know. What about you, Emma?
I actually watched a movie about this. She didn't know I watched this movie, so surprise. I was educating myself, Mom. It wasn't necessarily younger children. They were more teenagers like us, or, you know, early 20s. And they actually picked up this little girl from an orphanage and sold her into the sex trafficking business. And the way the movie played out was that after the girls had so many customers or new clients, say, come in, and they got so many jobs, they said that they could leave. Well, the one woman stayed because she felt she had nowhere else to go. That was her purpose now, and that was the only thing she could do for the rest of her life. And some of them tried to run away, but it was really hard, because obviously they're gated into these specific small places, remote places that no one would find them. And a lot of times it was people that you wouldn't expect to be customers there or help run the business. Like, I think in the movie the sheriff was a part of it. So you have the government going along with this, and you would never think that, like, law enforcement would go with this, you know. So eventually, the end of the movie, don't worry, the little girl made it back to the orphanage and found her little sister. That was a happy ending of the movie, but not everyone has a happy ending.
No, they don't. And it is a billion-dollar industry in this country. The sex trafficking, billion-dollar industry. You take a look at the girls that are prostitution. You take the girls that are being in the strip clubs. Most of these girls, they're just doing it for money. But the amount of money that goes out to pay for sexual things, it is just unbelievable. Blows my mind. But I think it's start over again. It is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and it is just so sad that people pay to have sex with little kids or even teenagers. And like the way these girls feel that that's their only way to be able to make a living. I mean, you take a look at Epstein, who got arrested, and then he ended up committing suicide, allegedly. But I basically think that all these young girls, they felt like they had nowhere else to go. And that was their only way to be able to make it in life. And that to me is just so sad, because it's like, you know, you can make, no matter where you came from, and no matter what lifestyle you have, you can choose to make a different path for yourself. And that's your choice. And I think that a lot of the girls, they just feel like hopeless. You know, I know that you were saying that they just made a major bust in the area. Like, how many kids did they find?
I don't know that they found kids, but they found the predators. And it was across the country, but there was a local one that was really disturbing. So it's here. It's
Yeah, I
right
mean,
under
it
our
is.
noses.
And you have to watch even in malls.
Yeah.
I mean, like where your kids are, because they're all lurking around, and like they could be your best friend. Every time you turn on the news, there's somebody that is approaching somebody in the playground, you know, or you're walking home from school, and then it's basically that's, you know, you don't know to trust that person. Oh, here, I'll give you a piece of candy and, you know, come in my car, and then that's the last time they see them, you know. Do you have something?
Yeah. like for colleges and stuff. So my friend, she goes to college in Ohio, and she's like, I always have to go, like when we want to go to the grocery store, like I always have to go with some guys because she doesn't like feel safe, because what she told me that like scared the crap out of me, that like when she's like looking for food and stuff, like the aisles, there's like people who are there and they like whistles. They have like a signal about like there's like a girl alone by herself, which is like scary for college students, like because you're like, oh, like you're supposed to go to college, you're supposed to be safe, like the university is supposed to keep you safe and everything, but like you're in the real world now, like you're away from your parents, you're not in your home anymore, you have to be cautious of yourself where you're going, and it's scary in college because you don't know anyone, because you're like beginning your life. So I just like wanted to say that.
No, and I think it's
scary.
important too, because like whenever we get back to normal life, if we ever do, and like when you're going out to the bars, you have to be careful, because you never get an open drink.
No,
Because you don't know.
always have to check. Yeah.
Make sure that you know where your drink is at all times, just because you never know what someone's going to slip in, and that part's scary. I mean, I hate to say it, but that's just the world that we live in. And as females, you guys have to be extra cautious, because you're out there partying, and unfortunately you let your guard down, having fun. There's this guy, and it's like, whoop, you got a roofie, and then all of a sudden you're like, where am I? And like the rape in this country is also, I think it's a pandemic as well, because no one has any right to violate somebody else's personal space. Nobody has any right to take something from somebody that is not theirs. And it's just like, I'm very passionate about this, because I am one for myself, but I do think that if we could, for girls who don't feel confident that talk about it, you have to talk about it in order to make a change, right? Like, here's some statistics. There are more than 42 million survivors of sexual abuse in America. We have over, 300 million people in this United States. 42 million. That's huge. That's huge. 1 in 3 girls are sexually abused before the age of 18. 1 in 5 boys are sexually abused before the age of 18. 1 in 5 children are solicited sexually while on the internet before the age of 18. The internet in itself, that's a huge thing, because you don't know who you're talking to on the other end. Like, you're big on TikTok. You don't know who's watching you. And it's kind of creepy. And I hate to say that there's creepy people out there. I mean, have you had anybody say like sexually things towards you while you were on TikTok?
So luckily I have not, but I have a bunch of friends who have had to deal with like really uncomfortable situations like that. I thankfully so before someone can talk to you through like Instagram or something, they have to go through like you have to be like accepted by me. So like I have to like look at your message and decide if I want to accept it or decline it. And if I ever get like messages like that, I just decline them. But sometimes they're hard to like look at, but I never have had anything that's too bad.
Too bad.
Yeah. Usually they're just like, "Oh my God, you're so pretty." I'm like, "Thank you." Like,
Which is true.
thank you. So yeah, I haven't had anything too bad, but.
What about you, Zoe? Do you know anybody that has, had any like perverts on their social media, or like any friends, like even you, or?
I know like all the time with like the message requests, there's always like weird messages in there, like from just like guys. And I know I get a bunch of like random, sugar daddy messages all the time. And like Facebook, like random guys just like want to be friends with me, and I always decline it. So like, I don't know, like everyone, like all of my friends get them too. So it's really weird. I've had like random text messages come on my phone, and it's very scary, but I just decline them and make sure I block that person.
Right. What about you, Emma?
Yeah, I've had the same, like the sugar daddy they always contact you through Instagram, because that's what happens. Yeah, I see it and I'm like, whoa, and then I decline it, and then about 5 minutes later, one of my friends will text me and be like,
Now, as a mom, Cheryl, have you do you pay attention to their social media? Do you? I mean,
Well, she has 2 older sisters that watch hers all the time.
Oh my God, say
They are like, and if there's something, I know one time she went to a tennis camp in Wilmington. Yeah, and the one sister goes, "Why is she in Wilmington, PA? Who do you know up there? What's going on?" I mean, the 2 older ones are because I'm old and I don't really understand it all, but I'm learning.
you're learning. Oh, funny. But 30% of sexual abuse is never reported. Nearly 70% of all reported sexual abuse, including assaults on children, occur in children aged 17 and under. 90% of child sexual abuse victims know the perpetrator in some way. Approximately 20% of the victims of sexual abuse are under the age of 8. That is sick. 8-year-old kid. Can you imagine emotionally what that does to a child? You took their whole life away from them. You know? When you're 8, all you want to do is run up trees and play with balls and bats and stuff like that, and you have to deal with all that emotional stuff that comes onto you. I mean, and it is very emotional. 90% of sexual abuse is preventable through education. So that's one reason why we're bringing it to light here on our Teen Talk, because it is very important for people to understand that it does happen. You have to know your surroundings. You have to be aware. You have to pay attention to who your kids are hanging out with. You know, if you see any differences in your children, you know, as far as, you know, staying in their room or, you know, just getting away from society, you know, what's going on with them, right? And 38% of the sexual abusers of boys are female. Wow. So it's not just, I mean, that's the biggest thing is you don't, like when you think about sexual abuse, you think, oh, it's just girls. But there's a lot of sexual abuse out there in boys. And sometimes too that, you know, just by knowing about the subject, a lot of people that have been sexually abused, they turn to drug and alcohol. They turn to gambling. They turn to, you know, sexually abusing somebody else. Do you know what I mean? If they don't get the help or if they don't get and recognize what is going on within themselves, that it can be, it's like a trickle effect that, you know, you can basically one person, you know, expands. That's why for myself, you know, I had to forgive the person that did it to me because I don't know what that person went through. You know, I don't know if they dealt with that as they were younger, you know, in order for them to, you know, to violate myself. You know, and I think it's so important that when you guys are with your friends or if you are with adults, just knowing, you know, even when you're out in the bars, nobody leaves. You go in together, you leave together. And I think you have to like have those safe words. That's very important. Even with like kids, like little kids, like you look at size, you know, age 8, you know, if somebody's coming to pick up the child, you know, you have to have a safe word in order, you know, hey, I know that person's not supposed to be with me or picking me up. And sometimes too, believe it or not, when it comes from divorced families, divorced parents, usually the one parent will take the child and that'll be gone through kidnapping.
Hi. Yeah, there was what you were saying about that. There was an Amber Alert like a couple weeks ago, a week ago, about a mom coming down. Like she's from New York and she was like on whatever the intersection or the thing coming down to Pennsylvania, and it was like with the 2 girls, and I was like, oh, it's probably a mom or a dad. So it was a mom taking her 2 kids away, and I was like, it's probably divorce or something, and she had done with it. But found the kids, I think. Yeah, they did. But it's just like scary this happens about like parents and
Yeah, and they take them to other countries.
yeah.
I have a quick story. Okay, so I don't know if you guys believe in like past life regressions or anything, but I did a past life regression back in July. And I was expecting to be like some Renaissance princess who like ran through some castles, you know, like yeah, like that's what I expected to be in my past life. And like the most recent one was in the 40s or 50s. I like couldn't tell and I don't remember which one it was, but I had been I was an actress. I was in LA. I was an aspiring actress. I was like waiting tables at the time, you know. Sorry, this is like such a weird conversation. Okay, so and I was walking from a hotel. I couldn't really tell where I was, but because you know you only have like 5 minutes to get this whole story, and I was walking and there was someone that I was familiar with, who had then like taken me somewhere and like murdered me and left me in a park, and like it was like a whole thing, and I had like come out of like my past life regression and I had like I had like typed in everything that I knew about it, and like it came like all the information that I got. I at the time had no idea who this was and I had never heard anything about the person. But looking back on it, like things connect so weirdly from that day to like this person that like it makes complete sense now. There was this cold case file, you guys have probably heard of it, called the Black Dahlia.
Yes. I love
Right?
it. Yeah.
And I had like looked into it once I like had woken up from my past life regression, and she like her case file fit perfectly with what I had like experienced.
That's like weird.
Yeah. And like they never caught her killer. I think I know who it is now, but
I solved them.
I think I did.
Yeah.
Right?
I got it.
No, but like it's too late now. Like I'm pretty sure like the person's like dead, but I think they're actually arrested, but for a different murder. Cuz like I don't know, his name was like Ben or something. They like found like a bunch of like dead people like under his porch. It's a gruesome and like horrible
So are you
story.
the Black Dahlia?
I think so. Like there's so much weird stuff with this.
Is that
because-
why your hair is black?
No. No.
I'm just asking.
No, so there's like weird things. Like, so that morning I'd gotten home from vacation. We had gone to like a private house on like the beach. It was like a social distance vacation. And yeah, this was the weird part. That was like,
I was watching BuzzFeed Unsolved. That was like
Yeah.
and stuff.
that was like the weirdest part about it. Cause like that was the thing that was like, this is what my murder was. Cause I had like felt like a like very sharp pain in my stomach. It was so weird.
All do like bring
Yeah.
one in here and then we have like a whole team talking.
Yeah.
about it.
No, but like it was like so weird. Like no, cuz I had gotten home from vacation and I had like weighed myself cuz I was like, "Oh my god, I want to see like how much I gained on vacation." And I was like I had like weighed myself and I was like 118 pounds, which like it correlates to the story because I then looked up like what her like weight, height, everything. She was 118 pounds. She was an aspiring actress in LA. She wore the same outfit that day that I had seen like in my like regression. She went by Beth, which was the weird part. Her nickname was Beth and my name is Bethany, and I hate the name Beth. And I think it's because the person that I was familiar with kept calling me Beth when I was like, it's a whole thing, but
Kid in the back is my brain.
That's what's going on in here right now.
yeah.
I've lost control.
Yeah, but like it was such like a weird situation.
Sorry.
Cause like, like if you don't know anything about me, like, I want to be an actress and like I'm planning on moving to LA in like 4 years. So this is like a weird situation. Like so much from my life and her life connects that I'm like,
Future, don't wear the same outfit.
I won't.
and
I won't.
like,
Shouldn't go to LA.
yeah, don't get to New York or something.
Well, like, and then it was weird because I knew it was January, and that was like it was a whole thing.
we talking about?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, what brought us to this story?
We're talking about kidnappings.
Oh, kidnappings. Yes.
Oh, the Amber Alert. We were
Yeah.
there,
Oh, the
and then
Amber
we got
Alert.
there,
So-
and now we're here.
Yeah. I was just. No, I'll tell you. You want to talk?
What am I supposed? What are we even?
What's the question? Okay, wait. Can I say something first? Okay. No. Okay. No, it's about like.
We're never gonna win an award.
Okay. No. Okay. So I'm in class. I'm in early, like I'm in history class, like early like beginning of time. Okay. No, of like the world, like Egyptian, like Christianity and Islamic and all that stuff. Yes, for college. And they like used like what they're saying. They used to like. I was reading something for like homework, and back then they used to like buy the women, like buy the wives, and like 'cause the women always been under the husband, always been under the father's power, and then the people who want to like be with their daughter, like be with the guy who wants to be with the daughter, usually buys them, or like it was just weird because I'm like, this is it happened back then. Like people used to buy their daughters to marry and everything, or like give them back or like steal them. But like now it's 2020 and this is happening. Like you sell people, and like back then they used to sell their daughters. So I just like connected that, and I'm like, I love you, Dr. Robinson. Oh, here you go.
I don't know how you're gonna follow that, Zoe.
Literally. Sorry.
But as far as like kidnapping and stuff, I mean, even like divorced families, because I mean, it does happen that, you know, when you have divorced families that, you know, one side is, you know, not happy and so forth. And, you know, you run that risk of possibly not seeing the other parent, you know. Zoe's like, thank you.
I would even say it's not specifically their own parent, but I've seen a lot of cases where it's like the step parent who will be like, well, it's not my kid, I don't like them, and they'll try to hurt them. And I feel like that's so just disgusting, first off, especially because whenever the children try to tell their own like biological parent, they like won't necessarily believe them. And it's like, I've known you my whole life, and you're not going to believe me that this new woman or man you brought into my life is like trying to hurt me? And I just that just like baffles me that you wouldn't believe your own child just because you've married someone new. Steal the mic.
Okay, I was watching a TikTok on this, and this person, the pillow. Yes, yeah. Someone, this person's stepmother had put Windex on their pillows.
I saw this. Oh my lord.
Yeah,
Yes. That's scary.
it was like
So
terrifying.
explain it to me, because I didn't see this.
So they, would you like to explain?
I didn't actually. You explain this.
Okay.
I didn't watch the whole video.
So this like.
It was Windex.
Yeah, this stepmother had sprayed Windex on this person's pillow, and like 4 or 5 pillows. Yeah, and there was like a camera in the room and everything, and like there's like 2 videos. In the second one, you see her come in to like wash them or something. I don't know. It was like very weird, and like just a very like uncomfortable situation to watch and know that someone was going through that. I think.
She told her
Yeah.
dad was what it was, and the caption on the TikTok was like, "Do you believe me now, Dad?" Like,
Yeah.
This woman was coming in to finally change the pillows after like spraying all this Windex.
Yeah.
So what does the Windex do? Is it
Like, what does the Windex?
Well, Windex is poison.
Poison?
Yeah, like I don't. If you've seen Heather's, like she drinks like Windex and dies. You know.
Oh wait. No, finish your story.
That's it. That was.
Well, I got told about when if we're talking about Windex. So I was told this story, and it like kind of freaked me out because I'm like, okay, I don't know. So I was told that there was 4 girls in a college dorm, and there was just one odd college girl out of the 4, and like the 3 girls were like best friends and everything, and the one was just like didn't connect with them, which is okay. Like, you do you, but the girl was like the weird girl, like was always like weird about certain stuff, and the 3 other girls were like, okay, like they like set up a recording just to see, and the weird girl like put Windex in like the girls' foods, and, like had something and like stirred it out and like put them in their drinks and everything, and then they caught it on camera, and like the girl was arrested and stuff, but like which is like scary. I'm like, oh my God, like, why would you do that one thing? And like, I just know. That was my story, which is like sickening, very sickening.
How you call it funny story and sickening and then
I got a
say
funny
it
story.
like 4 words.
I got another story. Okay, only because you'll remember this. No, it's not about Windex, but do you remember, Mom, when my middle sister, I don't know if can I say her? When Carrie came over to the house and was telling us about that new show she watched about I'll just give a little summary. There was a show, and this man had, I believe he had a mistress, and she convinced him it's not proven, she convinced him to kill his wife and children. And yeah. And yeah. And the man, you just wouldn't think he'd be able to do this because he killed his wife and put her in the car. And she was slumped over, and his little children were saying, "Daddy, is Mommy gonna be okay?" And she's sitting there dead. And he just wasn't saying anything, I don't think, if I can remember the story right. And eventually he gets out to kill the little girls, and he kills one of them, and I think he killed the youngest one first, and the other one is just saying, "Daddy, please don't hurt me." Like, how can you do that to your own child? That's what I mean about, like, the step-parent being so, like, overpowering that you would murder your own children.
No, and I think that's exactly what it goes back to, like the sexual abuse and sexual, sex trafficking, because it's just like, how can you do that to somebody? Like, you have to have a heart. I mean, we're all made from God. It's like, how could you steal that innocence from somebody? And you see on the news, I mean, like little babies getting sexually abused and dying. I mean, it's just, it's crazy, so it's just like, there's so many stories out there, and, you have to talk about it. Like, save the children. That's what they do, that hashtag save the children, because it's so important that, we talk about it and we can help somebody. And if anybody is out there that is dealing with that, we're going to put up the number at the end. Don't be afraid. I mean, talk to somebody. Talk to your, if you can't talk to your parent, talk to some adult that is going to be able to try to help you. We'll put phone numbers up at the end so that there's for child abuse. And, I hate to say it, that with COVID, people being stuck inside, the child abuse cases have gone up. The marriage abusive cases have gone up. Suicide rates have gone up. And it's happening. And we can't just take a blind eye to it, because we got to create awareness for that, because all kids, I mean, they're innocent kids. They should be able to have fun and just live their life. And, you guys look back at your childhood. What was your childhood look like, Zoe, since they've taken the microphone from you all the time?
Sorry. My childhood wasn't always easy. My parents got divorced when I was 10, and I went through a lot when they got divorced, just from switching houses back and forth, and having my dad's new girlfriend in the picture was really hard for me because because when you're that young, my mom is my mom, and nobody's ever going to replace her. So that was really hard for me to see my dad with somebody else. And I really did. I went through a lot. I didn't want to get up and go to school, and I pretty much cried myself to sleep every night. Now it's obviously better, but my childhood, it was rough, but now that I look back on it, it made me a stronger person, and it doesn't bother me anymore. Yeah.
And I think that's what the whole purpose of, it doesn't matter what you went through in your life. You can take that. It doesn't matter what you went through in your life. It's what you have overcome, because it does make you stronger. Yeah. Nothing's going to break me. Nobody's going to break me again. And I think that, with you coming from a divorced family, that made you who you are today. you know, and obstacles. You have to go through obstacles in life to be able to overcome those. And you've turned out to be a beautiful girl. So good job there, Miss Zoe.
Yeah, I don't know if I've actually opened up to you guys about this. This is going to be a fun one. This is a big milestone. So my parents are divorced now, but growing up, they've only been divorced since I was a freshman in high school. So it's only been, they're still not officially divorced, but they're legally separated for now. But my dad was like emotionally abusive towards me. So I, like, growing up, am still like trying to get past all this stuff, but like, I didn't forgive him until literally 2 days ago. Like, I was not emotionally able to be like, I'm sorry. Like, I wasn't able to see past it yet. Because he was struggling with addictions, and that's what was like causing him to lash out on me. And I got it the worst out of the three of us, out of like my brother, my mom, and I. But like, all three of us have like a resentment, and it's like really, really impacted all of us. But yeah, I don't know. So why are you gonna cry?
No, but I think that's good, Bethany, because I mean, regardless if somebody went through what I went through, what Zoe went through, I mean, everybody has their own story.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own path. Everybody has their own something that they have to overcome. And I think for, you know, and that's the biggest thing, is that you have to forgive, because if you don't forgive, you're giving them the power over you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and I didn't really open up about like my experience like in my family when I was younger until I have a friend named Santiago. He lives in Florida. He's like my best friend ever. And it wasn't until like April, I think, that I like started talking about like my childhood. Honestly, I kind of forget half of my childhood, which kind of sucks, but like I don't know, like he like wouldn't let me leave the house. Like, I wasn't allowed like in the backyard or like on the deck or anything if like he was home, and I wasn't on TV. It was like it was a lot. I like really struggled when I was a child, and there's like one instance that like kind of sticks out to me that's like not even that bad, but it's just like one of the only memories I can like kind of remember from my childhood. But my brother and I were watching TV. We were watching Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, which was not allowed back then. And my cousin, who's the same age as my brother, was like putting his dishes in the dishwasher from our lunch that we had just had. And my dad comes home and he goes, "Look at this. Your cousin does more around the house than you guys do." And like, I don't know, just like he would say, that was like the least of the stuff that he would say. So I don't know.
Emotional abuse. I always said I'd rather have somebody physically abuse me than emotionally abuse me, because you know what? Bruises heal, but that stays in your mind. And sometimes you got to like shut your mind off, and your mind's constantly talking to you.
Yeah.
So I think that, you know, that was a big step to tell all of us, and I'm glad that you did.
Thanks, guys.
So do you have anything, Mackenzie?
Oh God.
You always have something.
I do, but like.
But she's the bully. Remember,
I am the bully. Sorry. God, I don't. Now I'm speechless. Yes.
I just want to point out, though, that my mom is the best person ever, and she's so supportive and loving of everyone and everything, which is why she didn't leave sooner. Like, she had asked me when I was like 4, she was like, is it okay if I divorce your dad? I was like, yeah, Mom, it's fine. My brother was like, no. So she stayed, and she was super strong, and she stayed for like over 10 years after that. So like, you know, I wanted to say, like, love you, Mom, if you're watching.
Oh God. I've never gotten like. What's the thing, like, just words, like the
We're talking about childhood, something
Yeah.
that you've had to overcome.
Well, when I was younger, I've always struggled with like confidence. Like, I am always like, am very talkative, like, yeah. But no, I'm actually like inside I'm freaking out. I always struggled with like confidence. Like all my teachers, they're like, you just need confidence in yourself. Like you need to like stick up for yourself. Cause I'm not like an easy target. Like I'm like, my friends joke. We always joke, but they always like joke with like they joke towards me, and like they're like you're just easy to like joke about, and I'm like okay, like
Rude.
yeah, rude. And but like I'm a type of person. I'm like okay, you say that, good for you. Just be just like it goes behind my back. So I'm like I just like don't want to hold grudges. Like I'm like you say something like that makes you feel better. Okay, like that hurts me, but I'm like. I just throw it behind me because I'm like, I don't need you in my life. But, like, in my childhood, I just, like, struggled a lot. And, like, because my sisters, they're all, like, hella skinny. Like, not, like, super skinny. Like, they're skinny. And I'm more of, like, and my cousins are, like, skinny and stuff. Like, I'm more on, like, the curvier side. And I'm, like, okay with that. Like, I like being curvy and I like being, like who I am, and yeah. And I just like struggled a lot when I was younger because I was like because all my sisters were like, wearing bikinis and like all this type of clothes, and I always just like wore like one pieces and stuff because I was scared about my body. But like now I have gotten so out of my comfort zone, which is really good. Like I got this like top, and I like texted Bethany and I was like, listen, does this go together? And she said yes, and so that like boosted my confidence. So just like having friends to like boost your confidence really helps me a lot.
Well, that's good. What about you, Emma?
Oh man,
Your mom's here,
combo
so
trick on everyone here. So, growing up, I was always kind of the black sheep. I had 2 older sisters, way older than I was. Yeah, and so I'm in like the 3rd grade. I don't want to sound like a jerk and be like I was smarter than everyone, but I mean I was exposed to more. They were older, and no one wants to have like philosophical debates in the 3rd grade. And I'm like, let's talk about the meaning of life, guys. You know, like what does it mean? And they're all like, let's read Junie B. Jones, and I'm like, oh, okay. Which yes, they are good. They are good books. But I didn't have a lot of friends growing up. I don't think I wanted to hang out with my sisters or like old people. I didn't, yeah. So that was something. And growing up, then becoming a teenager, there was always other aspects. Like I was way taller. So in high school, I didn't want to stick out. That was my one thing. I didn't want to stick out like a sore thumb because I always thought I did. So I tried so hard just to blend in, be normal, whatever. And looking back on it, I regret that so much. I regret thinking like that. Senior year, I have just basically, I don't care anymore. I dress how I want, thank you. I've gotten, sometimes you dress like a businesswoman. I'm like, maybe I am a businesswoman for the day. You don't know what I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. I'm just testing it out. And like getting involved in like school activities. I never wanted to do that before, but this year I dressed up for Halloween. I was Lilo from Lilo and Stitch. Right? But doing stuff like that, I wish I would have gotten more involved and not been so scared my whole life of just being myself, That's my
your
spiel.
No, and I think that you guys brought a lot of different things to the table because everybody has dealt with different, you had older siblings, you dealt with being curvier where your sisters were, skinny, divorced families. I mean, and this is what makes us all unique, and don't think for a minute that somebody else out there cannot relate to what you guys have gone through. And I think it's so important that with our teen talk that we continue talking about these subjects that, sexual abuse, sex trafficking, dealing with the divorced family, dealing with being curvy. And that's why we created the teen talk, because some of these teens don't have anybody to talk to. I mean, Zoe, you had your mom, she was your rock. Bethany, you had your mom, she was your rock. And it's just like some of these kids don't have that. And that's why they ended up they get into a different route and they go down a different road that is not a very good road. And for someone to basically help them, grab them back and like, it's okay. You know, it's okay to be different. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel as if you don't fit in. But let's see how we can change that for you. You know, because it's, I always felt like I was always different. I was like the black sheep. You know, my brother was, he could eat anything he wanted to eat. And I always I covered myself up. You know, I didn't want to be seen. And, you know, for me to do this teen talk, this is a big step for me. So this is my therapy as well. But I think that what I have accomplished in 10 years with my business, I mean, I look back, I'm like, how did you do that? I never gave up. I never quit. There's times that I don't know how I can go on or how I can continue going forward. And this COVID has been a very challenge for my business because I deal with events and events are canceled. But I'm still open. A lot of other stores are not. But I think that me as a person, what I went through when I was 12 years old made me that strong person I am today. And I wouldn't be who I was if I didn't go through that. And the same thing with you, Zoe, like you said, you wouldn't be who you were. You wouldn't be who you were. So everybody has a journey. It's a matter of what journey you go through, what you overcome as a person, and how you can make the best of your life with any situation that you're given. Do you have any words of advice, Mom, since you have 3 girls?
Always know their friends. Always talk to them, ask them questions, any children. And before they leave the house, always give reminders, you know, so they hear your little voice in the back of their head when they're thinking about doing something, and they'll have that second sense of, and I don't know if I can say this, but my mother always, and my grandmother always said, God will never give you more than you can handle. So it makes you stronger.
I truly believe that, because there's some times that I'm just like, Lord Jesus. I always tell my husband, I sometimes my life, I feel like it's like that Demi Lovato song, Anyone. Can anybody hear me? Because like it just seems like I'm talking to something, but nobody's listening to me. Like, so that's like my theme song, but it is just so true, because sometimes you just feel like there is nobody out there. You know, I mean, be honest, guys. Have you all felt that way? You know, and it's difficult. You know, with this world, I think we need to show a little bit more love and kindness in this world. And, you know, and if we can help one teen or one child out there, you know, as far as what they're dealing with, it, you know, what we're doing here today is worth it. So this is Carrie Ann with Dress Hot TV. I appreciate you taking the time to watch our video, and we will be putting up the 1-800 numbers at the end of this as far as sex trafficking as well as sexual abuse. And please believe that there is people out there that are willing to help you, and good people. Just reach out to them, and you can call me. We will do whatever we can to help you get out of your situation.
Contact us. We'll talk to you.
There you go.
See, also, if any of you guys want to reach out for help or anything, or you just want to talk, you can DM all of us at our. Can we put our Instagram?
Yeah, we'll put our Instagrams
all
up.
of our Instagram handles are down below, or maybe they're somewhere on the screen.
We didn't talk about this.
Yeah, but so we could also say them.
Yeah,
That
we can say it.
mine is Bethany_Decker_. So you can DM me. It might take me a little bit to respond, but I promise I will get there eventually. No.
She is terrible when you get a text message. Just
Yeah,
saying.
don't text me. I can't do that. Oh my god, I saw that my mom said that.
I was like, I don't think that was for us. Go ahead, Zoe.
My Instagram is zoe.roar. It's ROHRER, since nobody ever knows how to spell that. And yeah, always contact me. I'll answer no matter what.
Okay, my Instagram is at emma.sukal, SUKAL. I would give you my Snapchat, but I don't think we're doing that.
My Instagram's Mac_Swerzler. That's SCHWERZLER. So yeah, I'm usually always on Instagram. So if you ever want to talk, just hit me up and I will talk to you.
Perfect. And you can also go to DressHot_PGH on Instagram.
Yes.
So we are all here for you. We are all your family, and we would be more than happy to help you out. And if you are in a danger, please reach out to us. You could also call 911 and order a pizza, because that is the code word in order for you to get some help. So don't feel like you're alone, because we are all one family, and we will be more than happy to help you in any situation. So take this. We appreciate you watching us, and remember to stay beautiful, stay confident, and Carrie Ann out.